I remember as a kid when I was around 7 or 8 years old, I was going to grade school in a school called Douglas. And I remember there was a store across the street from us. When we'd go out to play every day, there was a large sign out front that said "No colored allowed." So we passed the restrooms and had a colored restroom. They had a white restroom and had colored and white water fountains. And so all those things, they bothered me. Why was all of this? Why this? And everything was segregated back then. We'd pass kids from other schools. Sometimes we'd get into it and the name calling would start and different things like that. So you just never knew what you would run across in life. Now as I look at it, the church was silent back then, and you wasn't even welcome in a lot of the churches. It was just really bad then. You know, but things slowly, I saw through the years, things slowly changed for the better. We had been segregated for many years, and when I was time for me to go to the 7th grade, we integrated. I went to the 7th grade, and there were problems, but we still integrated, and things worked out. What I want to instill in my kids is no matter what, no man can stop what God has for you. God has a plan for every one of us, and that don't matter what color we are. What this world offers is temporal things, temporary. And this skin color and all this stuff like that is temporary. But God's concerned with the inner man, the spirit man, that the inner man is the man that's eternal. And so we want to be concerned about that which is eternal and not the outward temporal stuff.
What I want to instill in my children is for their lives.
I want their lives to be built on the solid foundation
of Christ. My parents raised me to have this mindset, to treat people the way I want them to treat me. I've asked my dad before how things were when he was a kid, and how in his generation, and I'm thankful that I didn't live in that era, that I didn't live in that time period. I think the main issue with race today is that we're still holding on to some of the stereotypes and prejudices from years past, and they still haunt us. They affect our thinking, whether we want to believe it or not. I don't want my kids to judge a book by its cover, at least not until they've read it. I want them to love others just as Christ loved us, to look deeper, to look beyond color lines, and to look into a person's heart. I think the goal of society and Christianity as a whole can all be summed up in this one sentence: that we shouldn't judge others based upon their appearance, but rather the content of their character, and more importantly, the content of their hearts. As a parent, I feel I can say this, that when an injustice presents itself, that we make it very clear to our children our stance, our position on the matter. Also, don't be afraid to be a lone ranger when you know the cause you're standing for is right. I think that's part of being this light and salt of the earth, that sometimes you're going to be the only one standing on that hill, and that's when we have to lean on Christ. As the light and salt of the earth, I think it's important that we live out the gospel of Jesus Christ. If we don't deal with this now, it's bound to catch us in the future. It's bound to be a problem for our children in the future. History has proven this to us.
What I want to put in my son is, like I said earlier, is I want him to have a godly character. And so it's up to me to set that example for him, and for not only my son, but all my children. And not only all my children, but also everyone that I come in contact that needs the Savior.
With my own kids, I feel like I want to carry that same torch that my parents passed on to me.